So I'm Merel Nissenberg. I'm the president of the California Prostate Cancer Coalition and president of the National Alliance of State Prostate Cancer Coalitions. And a little history, the California Prostate Cancer Coalition, CPCC, was formed in 1997. At that time, American Cancer Society, ACS, had a prostate cancer task force in California. And at a statewide meeting, a bunch of us said, why don't we just form our own group and be independent and do what we want to do? So we formed, we became a 501c3, which of course is a nonprofit. And we have a board. Marie Corwin was on our first board. And we have been going strong ever since. I can't get anyone to hold an election, so I'm still president. And we've done a lot of great things. I think we're one of the stronger state prostate cancer coalitions in the country. We network all the support groups in the state. One of the best things that we've done, besides our support group leaders workshops in Northern and Southern California, are two things. One is, I would say late 90s, we created a subcommittee to make Impact a permanent program in the state, and that's improved access to counseling and treatment for underserved men with prostate cancer in California. It first was passed with a budget to treat, but never for screening, which made no sense. UCLA now monitors the program. We did find a state senator who's now been termed out, and we got her to introduce legislation to make it permanent. And they always need new patients. So if anyone knows any patients who could use help with treatment, I've got the people at UCLA who will help them get signed up. Excuse me. So the Impact program, I think it's one of a kind in the country. And it's statewide. And then UC Davis was very generous in offering to screen men, because at the beginning, I think you had to have a PSA of 14 or something like that in order to get treated, which made no sense. And plus the men couldn't afford to get their PSA checked in the first place. So that's going really strong. The other thing that we did that I'm really proud of is in 2012, following the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force ridiculous D recommendation that said, don't screen men for prostate cancer, California Prostate Cancer Coalition said, we need to do something to combat this, because now physicians are not even offering, they're not even having a discussion about prostate cancer. They're not offering a PSA. They don't bring it up at all. And so we did two things. First of all, we created what's called a laminate, and I've got a sample here to show you. Let me just reach for it over here. Okay, this is a sample one. They're 8.5 by 11, hard laminated. This one is on imaging, but this is prostate cancer, 10 questions to ask your doctor. This one's about imaging and prostate cancer. 10 questions, this is the patient side. And then we have the answers that are definitely understandable. We did it as a pilot project to see what's understood. The beauty of these is the flip side is for the physicians. It's the same 10 questions, but with more scientific answers and references. And we started doing this in 2013. We created it for informed decision-making. And it's currently a pet project of the National Alliance. It's on our website, both websites, CPCC and NASPCC. And what's interesting is that when we first did it as a pilot project, we sent it out to patients to make sure they understood the language. If they didn't, what did they want us to, to change and make easier to read? The physicians loved it and wanted it for their clinics, but two physicians said, well, we're not allowed to have an informed discussion, which I didn't believe. So I went to the D recommendation in 2012. And when you read all the way through it, in the middle paragraph, the middle sentence of the middle paragraph, it says that if a patient would like to have an informed discussion on prostate cancer and prostate cancer testing, the physician must be prepared to have the discussion. And then it is up to the patient to decide if he wants to get tested or not. Nobody read that far. They looked at the D at the top and said, we're done, we don't have to even bring it up. So by doing that, we put a yellow box, here's the yellow box on this one, even though it's a different message on this one, for the physicians to realize that they could in fact have an informed discussion. And we want that to be more of an awareness as well as education, because if patients aren't even aware of prostate, what their prostate is, or the fact that there could be testing for it, they're not going to ask for it. And so our goal with the laminate and with everything else we do, I would say, is to really improve informed decision-making, which will then improve shared decision-making. So it's not just up to the physician, it's up to the patient as well. And the better the discussion, the more valuable the shared decision-making will be. We have since done, and the National Alliance has done 6 of those laminates. We have one, the informed decision-making laminate. We have one on the role of PSA throughout the entire prostate cancer journey. We have one on non-metastatic prostate cancer, non-metastatic CRPC, castrate-resistant, one on metastatic hormone-sensitive prostate cancer, one on molecular imaging and prostate cancer. There's one more, and there's 6 more in queue, everything from immunotherapy to bone health to testing. So there are a lot. And our goal is to eventually be able to have a ring through them, and the patient takes the whole set with them to the office of the physician. And the other benefit of that is that we do double distribution. So we distribute them to patients around the country. We also distribute them to the medical field, because we want the physicians to know what the patient is coming in with, what is their level of knowledge. We want the patient to be able to read the physician's side to see what the physician is thinking, so that they can, again, have better informed decision-making and better shared decision-making. So that's one of the best things that CPCC has done, I think. I don't know how we thought of the idea, but it's great. Stan Rosenfeld, I don't know if you all know Stan, he has a big group in Northern California, and he and I just sat down and wrote the questions and then worked with experts to get the perfect answers. And they're not easy. Like the molecular imaging one took us 3 months now to do, because he's not doing them anymore, but doing it with Tom Kirk, and just to get the questions, to get them reviewed, especially molecular imaging. We used Jeremy Calais at UCLA and Tom Hope at UCSF to go over and make sure we were including everything we needed to, and making sure it was just appropriate. So those are really, really great. So that's the California Prostate Cancer Coalition. We network all the support groups in the state. We do support group leaders workshops. We started with the laminate, and then we just concluded our 3rd annual CPCC/UCSF, University of California, San Francisco, Patient Conference on Prostate Cancer. So the first one was June of 19. The second one, we had COVID after that. The second one was just virtual in 21. This was our 3rd one. And believe it or not, because I really don't believe it, but they were videotaped, and they are on the University of California YouTube station. The first two conferences have been viewed over 350,000 times. They are such an incredible resource. You have everybody from, Eric Small, Matt Cooperberg, Felix Fang, Rahul Agrawal, Peter Carroll, Tom Hope. You've got everybody, and to have everybody together is amazing. So the last minute, this was supposed to be in person and virtual. The last minute, their AV people, I guess somebody was sick, so they just did it virtually. But hopefully in the spring, we'll be doing our 4th annual. So that's an amazing resource. I think we're more active than a lot of the other state coalitions. Then the National Alliance was formed. We formed that in 2004. At the time, there was something called the National Prostate Cancer Coalition, which was neither really national nor a coalition. It was basically an office in Washington, D.C., and Michael Milken was financing it. And they brought a bunch of us back to D.C. in 2001. And they said, we want to know what we can do to help you. But what they really wanted was for us to be able to take their messages and go out and do things and do their bidding. And after we raised the money, Jan Marfiak of New Mexico, then of Pennsylvania, and I raised the funds, and we created a number of other coalitions. And then when we realized we really weren't going to get the help we needed, and the states weren't, we decided to create this umbrella nonprofit. So it's the National Alliance of State Prostate Cancer Coalitions. No one is a member. We have participating state organizations. So every organization that belongs to or participates in NASPCC is completely independent. They can create their own rules. They can do whatever they want. For example, the National Alliance in 2005 decided what we wanted for the early detection guidelines. And we said age 40 for first PSA and 35 if you're high risk. And I came back to California and asked the board, do you want to adopt this or keep what we have? They adopted it. Some states adopted it, some didn't. But the national and all the state coalitions or foundations or associations that participate have complete autonomy. But it's great because what we do as the national, among other things, is we bring everyone back, usually to DC, once a year, except during COVID, for an annual meeting. We bring in, I raise all the money, and we bring in one person per state, And we have an entire weekend of education, sharing of best practices, networking, and just creating a great bond. And we actually task the people who come, since we're paying for everything, we say your job is to take the messages that you get here, all the information, whether it's verbal or whether it's written materials, and bring it back and disseminate it throughout your state networks down to the local level. So we want in that way to create a huge critical mass of informed patients. And, you know, because knowledge is power, and that's going to just obviously be beneficial for everybody. So our annual meeting, we're the only national group that does that. As I was just telling, let's see, who was I telling? Brian and Neil, that our national meeting this year is next week. So that's why I look so tired. It's going to be November 4 to 6 in DC. Stellar faculty. We have Vin Ladone from Sloan Kettering, Michael Zalewski from Sloan Kettering, who's a famous leader in brachytherapy. Vin Ladone is a surgeon. From Duke, we have Mark Markowski. We have Dr. Daniel Song, and we have Jacob Burchuk from, let's see, from Dana-Farber. We have Andy Armstrong from Duke. We have Vivek Narayan from University of Pennsylvania. Tom Hope from UCSF is flying across the country. He'll be there all weekend. On Saturday night, what we do is we have a Friday night cocktail reception with a lot of guests as well. And then Saturday morning, we start with a breakfast at 8. The sessions start at 9 sharp. They go till 5 or 5:30. At 6:30, we have cocktails and a dinner where we award the most outstanding prostate cancer organization, as well as 2 medical specialists. This year, we're honoring Jonathan Epstein, who also came last year, and he's since joined our medical advisory committee, as well as Michael Morris from Sloan Kettering did. Jonathan Epstein and my mind's gone, and Thomas Hope. And then Tom Hope will speak on Saturday night about theranostics, Pluvicto, and the new radionuclides that are helping patients with prostate cancer. So we've got that. And then Sunday, we start with breakfast again at 8, and then 9 to almost 3 o'clock. So it's a very intense weekend. It will be recorded. It will be on the website. The report from it will be on the website. And it's a great thing that we do. So I'm very proud of that. The other great thing I think we do is in June of 2020, so right in the middle of COVID, we were offered to take over Prostatepedia, both the magazine and the digest. I didn't even know there was a digest because there were about 4 articles that were in it, the ones that I had seen. And so what the magazine is a bi-monthly digital magazine with edited transcripts, in-depth transcripts of interviews with leading prostate cancer specialists, as well as advocates and patients. And it's done in flipping book version, meaning when you click on the arrow, you can hear the page turn and the page actually turns and you can read the next 2 pages. Outstanding interviews, just top of their fields, just stars, prostate cancer stars. And then that's the magazine that gets archived on our website, and it's also downloadable as a PDF. So if you looked at our website right now, you'll see that there have been, for this year already, we've done radiation therapy, theranostics, trying to think of the different topics we've done so many of them. We just finished the immunotherapy issue, and the chemotherapy one is coming out. We've done ADT and anti-androgens. We did an issue on testing, an issue on genetics, genomics, and prostate cancer, and then we'll be doing a side effects issue as well. And then the digest. So that goes out every single Friday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific. And it's made up of 28 to 30 articles, which I personally curate. It also has at the top the links back to the most recent magazine issues. Then there's 28 to 30 links to abstracts. And what I do now, there's so many that I actually, in black ink, do a descriptor, so you don't have to like read every article, all 30 or 28 every week. You can just read the ones that interest you. And then at the very bottom, we have reminders of upcoming meetings and conferences and special interviews. So that's a lot of work. I say when we took over, I didn't even know there was a digest. The one I found on my computer was like 4 articles, and now it's 28 to 30 every week. So that's really great. We've been called the gold standard because what we want to do is have men be able to make great shared decisions, right? And that's going to be based on better information. The better informed you are, the better decisions you're going to make, or that you'll feel able to make, and even, be equal with your physician as to what your needs are and what your wants are. So we love this. There's the Prostate Cancer Research Center at Boston University Medical School. The person who started that, Richard Shipley, called me and he said, you guys are the gold standard. We want a link. We want our website from our research center to link to your website. We love what you're doing. And so those are, they make us feel like we're being helpful and really helping patients and their families. So we love that we're doing that. And then, the Alliance is doing other great things, but the main activities are the annual meeting, the laminates that I just told you about. We're the only organization that does laminates. And then Prostatepedia. And then we also do webinars. And of course, other people do webinars, but we pride ourselves on getting the best people we can for the webinars. And the webinars are also archived on our website at both the slides and the recording. So we just had Eric Klein from Cleveland Clinic, who's spending this year on sabbatical at Stanford. He just did an incredible one for us. And we had about 108 people, which is great because people are zoomed out. So when I can get that many people, I'm really happy. But those are also on our website. Our website is so full of resources. It's currently being redesigned because it's getting unwieldy. So that's basically, what I can tell you. I started out, and I still do, I'm a malpractice attorney, and I handle a lot of cases of inexcusable late diagnoses, not just a late diagnosis, but something that's not excusable, where someone is severely harmed or loses their life. And so sometimes I represent the surviving families. And so that all kind of, morphed into this. Suddenly I'm in breast cancer and lung cancer. Well, my late husband was a lung cancer surgeon, and I'm president of his lung cancer foundation too. So I do a lot of work for National Cancer Institute, their Early Detection Research Network, the Prostate Cancer Sport UCLA, the Lung Cancer Sport Anderson, the active surveillance trial at Stanford. It's called the PASS trial. I'm the advocate for that. So I keep pretty busy, but everything kind of, it's like everything blends into everything else. And one thing that you do can be helpful for another aspect or another area of work. But if I can, save lives, that's the most important thing. So I'm probably leaving stuff out. I didn't do any slides. I'll just tell you, so our website for the national is www.naspcc.org, which makes sense, National Alliance State Prostate Cancer Coalitions. Our website for CPCC is www.prostatecalif.org. And if we can, and that's also been brought up to date, but the national one is being totally revamped from start to finish. And if you go on there and you look at resources and you look at the reports and you look at all the Prostatepedia issues and everything else, you'll see there's a lot going on. There's a lot of work to be done. So does anybody have any questions or?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Chuck Metzger, we've communicated by email, but this thing about informed decision making, we're in the land of managed care, and about a third to almost half of our people come into the support group and they're not properly worked up. They're not getting the tests they need. Nobody will prove an MRI. They don't want to do this. PSMA, what's that? What's your advice to someone that is an HMO person that wants their medical director of their Kaiser plan to approve these things? Do you have any secrets to that?
Well, a couple different ones. I guess part of it is from my viewpoint as a malpractice attorney. I was once speaking to a physician at UCSD who was trying to convince me that Kaiser patients should not expect the same standard of care in their medical treatment as everybody else because they pay less. And I'm like, no, I said they're paying less because of volume, not because they are getting a lower standard, nor should they get a lower standard. And so I think patients need to be empowered to say, I want this test. This is why a lot of the things we do are educating the patients themselves as well as the physicians. I think there's a need for education on both sides. And obviously Kaiser has like a cost motivation to keep things down. But I think the better informed we can tell the people, for example, in your support group, this is what they need to ask for, and to be able to give them materials such as the laminates. Those are things that will help get them talking to their doctor. And I know there's OMSBud people in Kaiser, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know, I've sued Kaiser a few times, but
just a few.
Yeah, truth be told, I'm sure they don't like me. But anyway, yeah, I think it's just, if you educate the patient enough to say, look, this is what these tests are that you should be having, or if you're not satisfied with the answers you're getting, you've got to keep asking. Sometimes like people go in and they say, I know something's wrong. And their doctors are like, no, nothing's wrong. You're fine. You're imagining it, and you have to just be persistent. And anything that we can do, we can give you materials. We can give you the laminates. They're on our website, both websites. And those are the very, very first ones. Those are the informed decision-making about what are your risks for prostate cancer? What tests should you be asking for? That's at the very beginning. Now, as far as PSMA, if you go onto the website for the Alliance, where all the other laminates are, besides the ones that are in queue, we've got 5 other ones on there. On the one on molecular imaging, which we use Tom Hope at UCSF and Jeremy Kelley at UCLA to review what we had done, it talks about PSMA. And we've also had Michael Morris. This is another thing I would suggest. They go onto our National Alliance website and look at the webinars, because Michael Morris from Sloan Kettering did an incredible webinar for us. They're 1 hour, 45 minutes of talk and 15 minutes of Q&A. One he did on just, the imaging using PSMA. And the second one was on theranostics, which I thought he'll never make that understandable to everybody. And he did. So I would just recommend that they're free resources, and there's slides as well as the recording. And just go on there and you can educate yourself. And you could also give your doctor the link to these, because everything's got a link. You can go right to it. So that's what I would suggest.
The other thing I'd like to mention is that I did sit through that entire conference Saturday. It was phenomenal. It was the best conference I've seen in probably ever. I don't know how you guys put it all together. I was disappointed I didn't get to go to San Francisco.
Yeah, me too.
Have dinner with someone, but well, what a remarkable conference. It should be videoed and looked at by everyone.
It is videoed. It just takes a while to get it onto the YouTube station for University of California. But yeah, I totally agree. I think the quality of the people there is
just amazing.
It's amazing.
And I got 2 speakers from the conference that are going to talk to us. So it was a win-win. Yeah, it was a win-win.
That's great.
So
does anybody else have any questions? Did I go too fast?
One of the issues I think people are facing, we talked about this maybe last week in our meetings, we've gone from no information to information overload. Now, it does sound like the thread you have of the laminates is probably a great introduction, but even 28 articles in every weekly digest, that's overload as well. Any advice?
Yes. Well, my first thing of advice is that's why I started putting those descriptors in black ink, because the links are in blue ink. So if somebody says, I'm only interested in localized disease, or I'm only interested in imaging, I'm only interested in BRCA mutations, you can just go down and maybe there's only 1 or 2 that week. You can just read what you need to. So that's good. It kind of culls out the stuff that you don't really need or you're not interested in at the moment. What's great about the laminates is it is question and answer form. We try to get 10 questions that are going to cover everything. The other thing is be careful of the sources when people go on the internet. I think if you put the words prostate cancer, it's like 11 million hits or something that are possible. And you're going to get stuff that's like advertisements, and it could be some, excuse my language, but some screwball, people that aren't really qualified to do anything. They're saying, I've got this great product, write to me. You've got to really be careful of your sources. So make sure it's a reputable institution. And that the person isn't like selling something, including selling a viewpoint. So just, and we can always help. If anybody has any questions anytime, I'm not kidding when I say I'm up during the night doing emails. I'm always doing emails and answering people. And, we're here to help. So whether it's through CPCC or NASPCC, that's what we're doing. We just believe that, I think one of our main goals is what I would call the early detection of potentially lethal disease. We all know there's a lot of prostate cancer that doesn't need to be treated, but some people have prostate cancer that does need to be treated, and you don't want to, ignore those or fail to diagnose those. And so if you really concentrate on the people with potentially lethal disease and get those people to do their informed decision-making and their shared decision-making with their physician, you're going to save lives. And so in my mind, I don't believe there is such an entity as overdiagnosis. I think there is overtreatment. Mm-hmm. And as far as I'm concerned, getting a diagnosis is a data point. It's information. And you should be entitled to know if you have prostate cancer, including if it's, clinically insignificant and it's never going to go anywhere. You still have a right to know about it, right? But, it's the people that have potentially lethal disease that we're really looking for And so to me, it's not overdiagnosis, because just knowing if you have something, as I say, it's a data point. It's what you do with the information that counts.
Thank you. And for our support meetings, especially for the newly diagnosed, what I'm hearing is refer people to your site and have them ask for those laminates. Is that the way to do it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And they can even call us if they're going to do like a local event, like, you know, a support group meeting, if they're going to do a health fair. We send out the laminates. We'll send like 50, 100, however many people want. We can't really keep them in stock. The printer keeps making more. Because if you just think about the number of people you can help, they take it home and look at it, and having it in question and answer form, I think is really helpful.
Yeah,
So,
I will definitely put that on our website as a key.
yeah, you know what? Well, our website is going to be redone, but in the meantime, if you go onto the national, and it'll talk about laminated resources, the informed decision making, that laminate, the first one is, I believe, down the left vertical column, but then under other resources, it should be the other ones. And as I said, there's 4 or 5 more coming.
Got
Just
it.
a lot of work, and we've had all this other stuff to do. So
I
the next one will
I
be,
requested some from your group, and unfortunately they sent it to the wrong address, and the little old maid lady that had never been married got them, and I think that's the closest she's ever been to a prostate, so made her day.
that's good. Oh my gosh. Well, we'll try to get the right address next time. Yeah, because there's so
Merel,
much
how
out there.
Merel, how can we contact you? I have a ton of questions. I fit all those things, the uninformed, the negligent doctors repeatedly, and, and I just have a lot. So not to get into my case, right?
Okay.
But,
Well,
but
okay.
I'd like to ask
Write down my
you-
email address. Okay. So it's M for Merel, M Gray, Grey at UC like Charlie, S like Stephen, D like David, so University of California, San Diego.edu. I'm not, obviously I'm in LA, but my late husband was on staff, lung cancer surgeon at UCSD. So I have my email through them, and I never changed it because I've been using it for so long. But go ahead. And my phone number is area code 619-518-6465. My office building is down the street. I'm looking at it, but I have not been back since COVID. So I'm working here, and
6465?
that's my cell number I'm giving you.
Yeah, 6465.
619-518-6465, or you can call my office number and they'll patch the call through, which is 424-253-1168.
Yeah, Neil, can you put that in the chat?
Can I
Neil's
put in the
not
chat?
on.
No, Neil put it in the chat.
Oh, Neil put it. Okay. And Neil's got my info too. Yeah, just Brian.
Let's do this again. Could you put this in the chat?
You want me to do it?
Yeah, would you please?
Oh,
Okay, sure.
Because
Okay.
this chat gets saved at the end of the meetings, and everybody gets a
Okay.
copy of the chat.
All right. There's my email address, and then
Your
phone number. This is my cell. Oops. that one. Okay, that's my cell. And then, okay, the office is 424-253. Okay, I think that's it. 44. Okay, perfect. There you go.
You.
Oh, and do you want the website also?
Please.
Okay, so. That's the California one. And then. That's the national one. There you go. Okay.
That's,
I mean, you'll be amazed how much is on the national one. It's kind of overwhelming. That's why it's all being redesigned. I like it, but then there's so much on there. So wait, can you hold on 1 second? Hey, Brad, I'm just in a meeting. Can I call you right back? Okay, bye. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, by the way, I've been reading, these Prostatepedia, but I'm only up to August 5th. So how do you have time to curate all this?
Well, the digest articles I do during the week, and I send them to Tiffany, who's our staff person. She's our secretary for CPCC, but she moved to Houston to work at MD Anderson, but she remains our secretary. And and she's our staff person to help out a little bit with the Alliance. So I send her the digest articles every Wednesday, and she sends me a test digest on Thursday, and I okay it, and it goes out Friday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific. The magazine, I find the people, Jessica Meyer-Schechter, I don't know if you know Snuffy Myers, it's his daughter. And she's also on our board now for CPCC, but she is the editor and she does the interview. So we decide on a topic, I find the people, I arrange for her to do the interviews, she does the interviews, and then they're edited, they're sent back to the speaker to make sure that they approve them. And then she's got a designer for the magazine, and anyway, it finally comes out. It's a lot of work, but
Right.
when we first took it over, we said we do it every other month, but then we decided there were so many topics, we do 8 this year. But I know she's getting, overwhelmed with that too. So we may go back to 6 next year, but we love them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I've gone through them. In fact, it's bringing up my skills. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. We're happy.
Except you keep me too busy.
Yeah, I know the feeling. But
By
anyway,
the way,
seriously, yeah, go ahead.
What did I notice on your editorial board? I see, Snuffy Myers Jr. and his daughter. Was he involved in this organization?
No, so Snuffy, as you know, is a retired medical oncologist,
Right,
and he's a prostate cancer patient.
Right.
And so he used to do these as like fireside chats, like recordings. And then, so he did those, and then he stopped doing those, and he and Jessica created this magazine called Prostatepedia. And I don't know what year, I just know that in June of 20, she asked us to take it over. So I think she still lets him do the intro inside the cover. I think he still writes that. But he's not been part of our alliance.
I thought he passed away. Snuffy
Oh, no. He's living in Charlottesville, Virginia, along
Really?
with Jessica's mom. Yeah, absolutely.
But I thought it was his son or something like that.
No, it's nothing.
Oh,
So
I'm glad that
here's
he's
Tom
still
Kirk.
alive.
You hear Tom, somebody remembers you. I think it's Bob. There's Tom
Right.
Kirk.
Hi,
Right.
guys. I don't know
Right.
who's on, but hello.
Hello, I spoke to both of you about, I attended one of the presentations, and I wrote something in the chat, and then you both called me and we spoke. And I tried to get you as a speaker at this organization at that time, but there's been a change in management, so now you're in.
Okay.
Right.
I remember
Okay.
speaking with you, both of you.
Okay, well,
I'm still here helping out, doing what I can do to
Okay,
move the cause forward. There's so much we have to do.
thank you. Thank you
course.
for everything you do.
of course. So
Right back at you. Same for you.
yeah, for sure. You're helping a lot of men in your groups. As I say, I'm sure you'll think of 100 questions. Just write me anytime. I pretty much respond unless I'm on a plane or something. So anything we can do, and look for more laminates to come.
Got it. Thank you so much.
By